So I ordered this little knife-making Kydex thing, and I just applied that to pistols. When I put it on, I was like, and the light bulb went off, like, this is fucking awesome.
Spent 8 years in the United States Marine Corps Infantry, fought in Iraq and Afghanistan.
That is unpleasant.
It's a veteran-owned and veteran-operated business made here in the USA. We're the guy who's obsessive about how good it is.
Prior to this, I was Army Infantry 5 years.
OnlyFans. That's GFI after dark. You pay extra for that.
Two guns, one holster. The GunfightersINC podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Two Guns, One Holster podcast. I'm Jay, and today we have the Clone Wars for the Glock 19s. So a little bit about myself, and then we'll go around the room to each of my co-hosts. Prior to this, I was Army Infantry 5 years, and I kind of transitioned, did a little bit of contracting and a few other jobs, and I ended up here for the last 5 years. And
What do you do here, Jay?
I've done production. I've transitioned into customer service. Brian?
Brian Early. Spent 8 years in the United States Marine Corps Infantry, fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. After I got out, bounced around, did some contracting like most people do. Ended up here, been working at GFI for 4 years. I'm currently the quality control manager of backstock, so any Amazons or ready-to-ships you order come through me. And I've held about every position you can in the production side of gunfighters.
And I'm the lousy normie that rounds out the group here to give a purely civilian perspective on everything going on. I've been in the firearms industry, though, for the last 5 years, joined on the Gunfighters team here to take over their marketing here a few months ago, and so have been getting to know Jay and Brian, and we've kicked off this podcast to get to know you guys. And today, like Jay said, we're going over the Clone Wars. What do you mean by that, Jay?
So the ubiquitous, Glock 19, pretty much the standard. And
The do-it-all.
The do-it-all. You know, I've carried one of these myself for, 5-6 years now, pretty much since I got out of the Army and started actually concealed carrying. And it took me a few guns to get here, but this was the gun in my eyes to carry for a long time. And now, you have all of these other clones, essentially, that are aftermarket in various different price ranges, from the very Gucci to the very mundane. But we're here to talk about them. We've shot them all, and now we're going to go a little more in depth on them and give each a fair shake in pros and cons.
From what I understand, the Gen 3 patent actually expired, and that's really what inspired a lot of the companies to start making full-on guns. Zev's been in the industry for friggin' ever, but they used to just make parts, triggers, slides, and now they offer a full sight or a full gun. And then you also have a bunch of other companies that have popped up that are more recent. And so it's definitely interesting to go through and do a compare and contrast of all of them. Like the Shadow Systems is one of the newcomers that's extremely popular, and we want to get our initial impressions out to people and go over what we would probably actually buy and pros and cons of everything that we got. And we have a wide range of pricing, everything from the PSA Dagger all the way up to the Zev. There's something
kind of in between.
Yeah, there's something in there for everybody's budget. So definitely want to give our opinion and be more of a place that you can come to for information on this type of stuff.
Yeah, and we will link the video that we did go out and shoot. We shot all these pistols. We ran a variety. Nothing too in-depth. We wanted to really get in on that podcast. But ran a variety of basic testing with them to see sort of how they felt, how they shot, so we had a good feel for them coming into this. And, I mean, you talked about the patent, Brian. The Glock, it's everybody who knows pistols, everybody knows firearms. You have heard the name Glock. Yeah. It's ubiquitous, like Jay said. Do either of you happen to know off the top of your head when the 19 came out? What, the Gen 3?
The Gen 3 came out?
Yeah, because,
would have been early, like real early 2000s. Because I got my first Gen 4. I got Glock 17 Gen 4 in 2011, like right as the Gen 4 just was released. So I'd imagine probably early 2000s.
Yeah, because I think like a lot of standard U.S. patents, it's 15 or 20 years. I don't remember. So the Glock was obviously immensely popular. It got law enforcement contracts. It got military contracts. And because of that, now we have all these clones once that patent sort of expired, because everybody wanted to be Glock. They're everywhere. It's for the longest time was the most popular carry gun in America. I think
It probably still is.
it's probably the most owned. SIG claims the 365 is now. I don't know if that's true or not. It's the best selling now. I don't know how they run those metrics. But the Glock has been around.
I don't know. They had a lot of government.
There's a
contracts
lot of
for the
Glocks
19s.
out there.
Yeah. What else is interesting is that most people, when they buy a Glock 19, they don't leave it stock. Like you're going to change the sights on it because the sights that come on the Glock 19.
Well,
and
break
17.
us down on the features, Brian, because this is the baseline for all the clones.
So, and for everybody watching or listening, every gun on this table has already been cleared. So, like, no range Nazis here. So, the standard Glock 19 comes with plastic sights, really not very good grip texturing. The Gen 3 didn't come with back straps. This is a Gen 4. The Gen 3 is currently being used on the shop floor because we check everything with a real gun before it leaves. But this is Gen 4, so the Gen 4 does have back straps. The Gen 3 didn't. And also didn't have ambidextrous slide, stop, slide, release. Really plain trigger, reliable trigger, but really plain, really mushy. Like, not much of a reset. It is audible, which is nice, audible and tactile. And so, most people when they buy a Glock 19, the first thing they do is they swap these sights because these are plastic, and as you can even see, you can probably even catch it on the camera. These just being in the shop have already been banged up and have chipped away, being just crappy plastic sights. Everybody switches over to a Mirror Glow or an XS, and then next thing you do, you know you're going to want an optic, like because red dots are king now, and so you're going to have to send your slide off to get it milled, throw an RMR or whatever have you. A lot of people like to do lightning cuts or extra texturing because the Glock slide is slick. It doesn't have the front sight serrations, which most people like for being able to do press checks or manipulating malfunctions. And so you're going to buy a base Glock, and then you're going to send it off to do basically all the things that all of these other Glocks clones already have done.
Yeah.
And when you pay for that Glock, I mean, you're getting the Glock service, you're getting the proven combat record, you're getting the reliability, all those things. But like you said, I mean, you're not getting. It's not optics cut. It's not a threaded barrel. It's not got the front serrations. It's not got a bunch of these things that people might want off the bat. But now with the clone market, there's so many options out there. It's almost
we don't
hard to
even
pick.
have all of the options out there.
I mean,
this is just
as far as
small
like
selection.
price-wise goes, I mean, you're looking at around $500 for a Gen 5,
Yeah,
Gen
you might
4.
get a police
Just to
trade
get
in for $350,
you
$400.
You could get a
brand
Glock
new.
22.
Yeah.
If it's probably the cheapest. Get a 40 Lone Wolf barrel slot, and swap it to 9. It'll work. But getting that for around $500 at any gun store,
And then milling it's going to cost
if you
you
want to do
$200.
stippling, maybe you
Stippling.
replace your mag release, your sights, of course, at least $60 to $100. A threaded barrel if you want an aftermarket trigger. You're already pumping at least $400 into this thing if you minus an RMR.
Yeah, which is really makes
So-
a lot of these other offerings very.
if you're
very
gonna
attractive.
already
Very
drop
attractive,
around $1,200, you might as well just start with something that's already good to go. That
Yeah,
you're
and-
already,
The MOS Glock system is notoriously graphic.
yeah, you get 10 plates.
Yeah, you get 10 plates. Most of,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Gen 3s only came with plastic plates, which are known for breaking and shearing screws.
Yeah.
So with these other offerings, you're getting that off the bat. Obviously, not all of them are like that. Like the PSA Dagger just has the front sight serrations. It's not optics cut. But the step up from this, which is less than a Glock, does offer that. And you can get it already milled for an RMR.
Yeah.
And like, which one was it?
Who are you talking here? Who are you thinking?
Oh, I
P80.
spaced out.
You're talking about the PSA, and it does. I mean, you can go to Palmetto. You can spend $460, $470, something like that. That's going to come with metal sights. It's going to come milled for an RMR. It'll probably include 10 mags. They might be the Magpul mags instead of the standard.
The Magpul PMags.
But I mean, hell of a deal for less than what you get the standard Glock for. Obviously, sometimes you get what you pay for. But we were pretty impressed with that. I mean, starting at the bottom, we already talked about the Glock. I mean, the PSA Dagger starting at $299 without any of the flashy stuff, going to about $450, $500 range to have tricked out with the threaded barrel, cut for optics, front sight serrations. It's not ambidextrous on the slide release or the lock or the mag release. That trigger isn't terrible. We kind of talked about it.
It's a lot like the Smith & Wesson hinge
I'm sure
trigger.
it's almost got that
break in a
hinge.
little bit and
Yeah.
probably become a little better. But
And that,
I mean,
that specific PSA Dagger has been 100% reliable.
Yeah.
We taught a pistol course to the guys over at 509 from Spokane. To them, it ran all day.
Yeah.
I think we ran about 500 rounds through it. Didn't have a single malfunction, and then we took it out, and all of us shot a couple mags out of it, and it ran perfectly fine for like, if you're in that budget category, I would
heard
definitely pick
tons
it
You
up.
want a
great
Glock
things
and you
about
don't have Glock money, this may be the one.
And it's purely aesthetically. Like they also offer it in Cerakoted slides.
Yeah.
They got a Ranger green and like a Sniper gray, a Coyote, a couple other things, a couple different grip colors. The texture is not overly aggressive. It's
You
like,
can still get it stippled
Yeah.
too
Yeah,
if you don't like, because I don't like that
A little
hump
palm
it's
swell
got.
is
Yeah.
okay. That I would definitely delete, but
Yeah,
that's
but
just me.
just a little router work.
But I do appreciate this because
Or Dremel.
I'm prone to riding
Getting that
Glocks
Glock
very
bite.
high. I have a permanent scar from just shooting Glocks in general and riding them really high. But that's a nice feature
Having that
for those
little
with a little bit bigger
tang on the back strap to keep you off.
meaty mitts. But yeah, I like it.
And
And it comes with better sights than a stock Glock does.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get metal sights to
Sure.
start with. I don't think this one's. That's not a.
That's
a
not
nice sight?
trinium.
Yeah, it's just a white sight on that. But you can order, and it's compatible with all Glock aftermarket parts. They should be a true one-to-one transition. You should just throw a different barrel, and you can throw whatever their mags. Doesn't matter.
Well, one of the guys in the shop actually has a PSA Dagger lower, and then a completely separate slide that didn't even get through PSA. So they're completely compatible.
Yeah, which is nice.
Granted, like we do know that like there are different models of the 19 that you can buy that come with trinium sights. We're just saying the base model Glock 19.
Yeah. Price compare. We tried to pick the base or the models we had on hand for this comparison test.
I think one of the most interesting clones that we have on the table is the ZRO Delta.
Yeah.
This thing is super interesting. It's very, very modular, and it comes in a wide range of pricing depending on how you want to deck it out. We end up having basically all of the parts for it, which we'll show here in a second, but it's an aluminum frame Glock 19 clone, front sight serrations, all of the slides come already optic ready. You get metal sights. If you want a 34 length, you have the 34 length slide. If you want to extend the rail, you can extend the rail. It comes with several different sizes of flared mag wells. Different back straps, which wasn't an option on the Glock Gen 3. If you
Pretty
want a
much turn
17
this into a
inside,
race gun.
This can
cool.
go
You
from
could
Yeah.
concealed carry to competition pistol.
Literally
pretty
do-
fast.
do
It's
everything.
It's a
I
Lego
will-
pistol.
I will say, what I really, really didn't like about it is when we were shooting out there, it was about 31 degrees, and my hands were
Oh, it's
freezing after
ridiculously
shooting
cold.
this.
Metal. I carry a metal all aluminum pistol all day, and
Yeah,
it's like
it's
it's
easy.
nice because it feels it's machined aluminum. It like feels really good. It's sturdy. Not that I've ever had any problem with polymer pistols, but that is a drawback to those. I mean, in
Yeah.
colder weather, like you go to grab
don't
that, and we
notice
live
it
in
until
North Idaho, like
It's winter.
as well as the weight. I mean, there's something to be said
Yeah.
about. I'm usually wearing a awesome Core Essentials belt. Shout out to those guys. And then I wear pants every day.
We're
But
all wearing
if you're
Core Essentials.
running to the grocery store and you're in your sweatpants or and you have a holster
Yeah.
that is able to run it, it's nice to save a little weight to not have your waistband.
That's why I carry a 43X now instead of a Glock 19. 'Cause I carried a Glock 19 forever, and then when the 43X came out, I switched over for that exact reason. Just a little bit less weight.
You just plop it anywhere. And the number one rule is if it's not comfortable, I mean, you're not going to carry
Yeah,
it. That's,
exactly.
That's the way it goes.
Especially for novice shooters.
But that is a super cool. That is a super cool pistol. I mean, the fact that it comes with all this, and from what we could tell researching it, I mean, we didn't order this pistol here. This was through work. You can get just the frame, starting at what was it, $229 looks like. So you can get basically the 80% lower for a pistol essentially, and
they
it
just
goes up
build
to
it out.
$709 to build it out. And as far as I understand, that comes with the whole kit, which is pretty crazy. You're spending $100 more than a brand new stock Glock, and you get mag wells, you get back straps, you get 2 different slide lengths. And I saw this on their website. This is pretty interesting. I don't know. It's one of
Did
those
it come with any
systems.
sights? I wasn't a fan of these blacked out ones.
No,
but
that is one thing I didn't like about it.
yeah,
those
probably
black
the
out
only
sights.
detraction other than it being very cold. But
Yeah. One thing that
Seasonal
I
issue.
saw that was interesting that they're doing, I don't know how, you'd have to buy their lower, it'd be interesting, but they're making something where that pistol grip will interface with the lower on an AR. And you can pull You can pull the rail off.
That's neat.
And pop it right in. It's coming soon. Apparently, it's on their website. I was like, that's interesting. It's one of those like that's cool that might not have a lot of function because then you still have to buy their specific lower to work with it. But
It's definitely a cool
that's
concept.
the cool thing about Gun World is it doesn't have to be total function. It can just be fun. What's the weight on that, Jay?
It's coming around 7.
7 on that.
But
Yeah, it was a little heavy. It's a smooth trigger,
because
though.
it looks essentially like a Glock stock trigger, which is around 5.5. That one's a little better, 6.5.
I'd be curious to know if I didn't look it up, unfortunately, but I'd be curious to know if you could swap out other triggers into that as well.
Yeah.
Because of the pin design.
Yeah, because I think the pins.
I'm
it's
sure
different.
it is.
'Cause that's
it's a
dual-
2-pin,
a dual pin,
like the Shadow
like
Systems.
the Shadow Systems.
Well, you got
But,
that out, Jay. What is this one coming
not
in
sure.
at? That's
Yeah,
got
go
that
ahead.
hinge trigger.
This is coming in around 6. Yeah, and you can get the dagger pull weight. Try to hook the
Tough
bottom and come straight back, and it helps if you hold the pistol level and hit the bottom of it.
I'm
You
doing
gotta,
that
you gotta
wrong.
hit the hinge.
Yeah.
Go for it.
It's not working.
I was like,
it's not working because of
the hinge. I was like, I
Well,
feel like
I mean, that
I'm
is the
mostly
safety
there.
mechanism, right?
Oh, there we go. We got it. It's 5.5.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of
not
these on the
bad.
website said
Stock-
they came in around 4.5,
Essentially, a
5
stock
pounds.
stock Glock trigger weight.
The out of the bunch, the trigger I liked the most was the Faxon.
Yeah,
Same.
The Faxon.
It's essentially
which
what
is
an
super
Apex.
Yeah, it's or like an Apex or like the new Timney Glock trigger.
Yeah,
it
that's
feels a lot like
essentially
that.
what it felt like.
now there's
really
a couple.
smooth.
There's a couple options on the Faxon that they started around $775. This one that we have, I believe, is about a $1,200 pistol. So it's definitely in the pricier range. But as Jay was kind of talking about earlier, oh, look at that! I didn't even notice that with the plate. It's got the American
Yeah, it's
flag
got the
milled into
American
it.
flag logo.
That's pretty
Tasteful
sexy.
milling.
Might be able to pick it up. 4 pound trigger, and the Faxon is super consistent. I noticed when I shot the Zev, like every third round felt just a little bit lighter. I don't know why that is. Maybe it was just me, but I definitely like the Faxon's trigger over the Zev or any of the other ones on the table.
Well, and even for me, like you guys have shot a bunch more pistol than me, but the recoil impulse on this Faxon pistol compared to all the ones we tried, it was just really smooth. It was a
Yeah,
really
it's really
nice shooter.
really pleasant
It
shooting.
felt really easy to get back on target. Not that there's all 9s, so it's not like there's crazy recoil on any of them, but it's just there's something about a gun in your hand that's well machined that really just stays on
And
target.
not all of that
one was
is
Yeah.
aesthetics.
It's definitely
it
sprung
is, but
really well for
Yeah,
how much
that's
much
important.
they took out of the
Right.
slide because it's got lightning cuts on the top and on both sides as well as those really aggressive front sight serrations, which look sharp but aren't. Like I was kind of surprised. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna like
especially with the cold out there.
Yeah,
It wasn't like
dig up your hand a little bit. Also comes with awesome night fusion suppressor height sights, which would co-align with a red dot really well.
and Faxon's got the threaded barrel, and then they have their, I believe it's actually proprietary. I'm not certain, but they do it on their AR barrels. That flame fluting,
Right.
it's a super good look too. It's unique.
They are famous
Yes.
for their barrels, and I'm sure that is a match grade.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, you wouldn't tell shooting the groups I shot freezing out there, but we'll have to take it out when it's a little bit warmer and see what groups we can
Yeah,
put up.
really put some rounds through it.
Yeah, maybe throw an SRO on it and see how fast we can shoot.
Stepping back real quick to the Zev. No, I guess we were talking the ZRO. Sorry, pardon. Kind of a thing on that one. So sort of the pros and cons. Like when you order a pistol nowadays, the nice thing about a lot of these is they all accept Glock mags or basically the mag pull.
Sure.
Brian, which ones here are proprietary? So we can sort
It
of
was
call
the
that.
AREX is the only one that doesn't take standard Glock mags. They have a metal proprietary magazine, which looks like it's really well made, but it is unfortunate. Most people, when they buy a clone, they want it to be completely cross-compatible. Even people buy PCCs,
Yeah.
like, does it take Glock mags?
They did achieve a smaller grip
Yeah, it
for having it.
is
It's kind of like the
a
Shield
much
Arms
thinner grip,
mags,
which I actually
yeah.
like. Which is probably the only thing
Yeah.
about this pistol I
Yeah.
did like.
We can come back to her at the end. I was
Yeah.
just the like sort of covering the ZRO. The one thing that was I noticed when I was researching it online, it kind of a shame. It only came with one mag, which was like, you know, when you buy a pistol these days, you know, I'd like to see at least a couple of those included.
Yeah, like
And how much are your spares? Are they $15 or are they $45? Yeah.
Luckily, Glock mags, even the OEM ones, aren't very expensive.
Right. And Magpul.
So
Jay, which one's catching your eye right now?
Shadow Systems, the XR920 right here with the rose gold barrel. They say it's burnt bronze, but we've concluded this is rose gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like these. They're tastefully done. It's not over milled, in my opinion. I do appreciate, you know, the milling that goes into a lot of these custom Glocks, and it's not pure aesthetics. I mean, Glock did their own big tombstone cuts in the top, kind of similar to that but bigger. And
Yeah,
that's just to help balance the weight of, you know,
Glock 34,
adding
Glock 35.
adding your optic.
It's
you
not
know,
without
so
its
you're not,
drawbacks, though. I mean, if you're gonna treat these like a duty type pistol, I mean, that's dirt, that's grit, that's
True.
things getting
Yeah.
into your slide, and that can cause malfunctions, problems.
Exactly.
It looks great. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna take really good care about it and not take it into adverse conditions ever,
Yeah.
it's fine. But it is a consideration to have a fully enclosed slide.
Yeah, that can make or break the weapon. I mean, depending on how much you know, weapons maintenance you do and the conditions you're in. I rode around on a quad all day with a Glock in my Safari Land, and it completely choked up with dirt and sand and, you know, grime, and it just wasn't a good time. But
The Shadow Systems also have several models. It's actually hard to
they do.
keep up with them. They do offer some that have the lightning cuts if that's what you're into.
And this is the one we have. If you go on their website, they do have a configurator, and you can choose the standard black barrel. It doesn't have to be threaded. Your price point can vary depending on that, but I would say most of them are coming out at that $1,000 range, roughly.
Yeah. They blew up quick, too. They were one of the new kids on the
Full
block,
gauges guy.
and they got super popular really fast.
I like them for being around the $1,000 mark. They're
It's everything you would do to a Glock.
it is
Without
and
going
they do
too
it, They
bougie.
do it well. It's not over stippled. They do a tasteful little ledge right here for your finger to rest
I
on.
really like the ledge on
Yeah.
that pistol. It's
Right.
a little
It's
like
not
micro
as
thumb
like,
shell.
of course, compared to the stock Glock, none, which a lot of people were doing to get that little ledge in there just to give you some purchase for your thumb. to
I've
help.
literally dremeled that ledge into every Glock.
Me
I
too.
own.
I've done some very ugly and you know,
I pay
useful
for it now.
ledges, but you know, you buy it and it looks good. But let's pull gauge this guy. I do appreciate their trigger, whatever it may be. I think it's very good.
Yeah. And it's worth saying we did go out with a couple of these that day. We cut a couple of their comped ones, and what was it, the 34 clone and a 17 or
These are
The
right at
34
4.5.
clone and the 43X clone.
yeah. So those ones with the comp, there were some things we had no issues with. This one, it ran fine.
This also ran through a one-day pistol course I taught and it worked flawlessly.
So this
Interesting
is
enough.
right at 4.5.
Interesting
very
enough,
nice.
3 guys in the shop actually carried that exact same gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our holsters do accept these.
Yeah, that's another thing to consider. Some of these aren't compatible with standard
True.
Glock holsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we specifically make PSA Dagger specific. We make
Poly
Poly 80 specific. The Zev specific and the Faxon, which is interesting because the Faxon is a P80 style frame,
Yeah.
but doesn't fit in the P80 holsters that are just slightly thicker in the trigger guard, which is something to consider. And we'll be offering the AREX very soon in the future.
Which I have read online, it will fit a variety of Glock holsters, which was interesting. It's got some slight differences.
Those the holsters that have a retention set screw where you can open up the holster
Yeah.
more than it's really should be opened up. I'm sure we'll accept most of these.
But if you want a good fitting holster,
Yeah.
it's got to be built around that gun. I was more saying, like, you can make it work, but it's like
Not ideal.
It's putting a donut in your car to finish the last leg of a journey because you blew a tire. So one of the interesting ones there, Brian, you were just talking about comparison the P80.
Yeah, the P80. We actually didn't bring this out to shoot.
But that's unique because it's going to vary case to case. So if you don't know what the P80 is, it is basically an 80% lower receiver for a pistol, like you would think for an AR.
You can also buy these complete.
You can now.
Yeah,
Okay.
now, once they got sued by the ATF.
Gotcha.
Well, the ATF is losing that lawsuit. So
They started out with the basically you get a grip frame, unserialized, spooky ghost gun, with a kit to Dremel out all the important holes.
Yeah, and then you can assemble it, customize it however you want. They do offer complete ones. Yeah. One thing I really do like about the P80 frames is the grip angle's a little bit less aggressive.
It's 1911ish.
And then you get a much higher. You can get much higher in the gun because they have this nice undercut, and then it comes with a nice ledge on both sides that you can really use as a gas pedal. They are notoriously finicky when you build them out yourself. I actually have a couple friends that are sponsored by the Glock store down in San Diego that are competition shooters, and it took them a number of tries to really get them dialed in.
Playing with different slide springs, barrels, everything to get the weight happy,
and you know, a little bit of sanding here, a little bit of sanding here, just to get it to fit exactly right.
We put together, 3 or 4 for the shop?
Yeah, we have 4.
I think only one worked.
Yeah, this is the only one that functions.
And they were built with all Lone Wolf parts.
Now, the benefit of these is that frame comes in, since it's not anything. It doesn't come with a trigger. It's not serialized. It comes in at like $160, and from there you can make that as expensive. There's Glock aftermarket parts or Glock slides.
You could go as cheap as building it out as a PSA Dagger, or you can go, ghost guns and slide.
For some people, that's a thing. Like some people want to buy the out of the box. It's got everything I want.
A lot of people don't want to tinker with their stuff.
A lot of gun guys are tinkerers. They want to sit there and they don't care that they had to go through 3 slides. Like they do, but they're like, this is fun. It's like making it work. It's a problem and they want to solve it. It's a problem they purchase themselves, but
it's the same reason I have 10 AR-15s.
Exactly. You got
adult Legos.
You got to 10.5. You got to try the 13.9. You got to do it with this slower. You got to do whatever. Like this is charging handle, whatever bulkier group. You can play around a lot, and for some people, that's the draw to those. To be able to build something and be like, I built this all by myself.
Yeah, I did it. What else we got? What haven't we talked about? We haven't talked about the Zev, which is also an interesting pistol because it's a chassis system. This internal, a lot like the 320 and the Echelon and the IWI Masada, you can get different grip modules and have one serialized part, and that's the trigger pack, and then you can have a larger frame with a 34 length slide, and you just swap it over when you want to shoot your competition gun. Or I personally prefer carrying as a sidearm a Glock 34. I like the extra velocity that you get. And out of the Zev, you get probably the best sights on the table. Yeah. I'm not sure if Zev makes these in-house or not, but the red fiber optic front with a blacked out rear with that nice little horseshoe ledge for being able to rack off a piece of clothing or like a table.
Yeah, and that's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's my favorite, by far my favorite sights. And the Zev also isn't like overly done with
for being around $1,100. That's you get a lot of gun for what it is.
And it was I was reading up, watching a couple videos on this. It was actually very interesting. The guy who started, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who started Zev Technologies and was developing this pistol, he started out, like you said, just making Glock parts. For the longest time, he was making slides, he was making optics,
and then some AR-15 components as well.
He was doing a bunch of that stuff, and he really just loved and believed in the Glock platform, and he always had this dream of one day making his own. And then, like we said, when the patent went up, it was fair game. But he's got a lot of history working with Glocks long before, and the Zev is one of the oldest clones on the table too. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a guy who's got years of experience working with a platform, and then he made, I can't speak for anybody, but it's what he considers the perfection of the Glock model right there. And it is a sharp pistol, and it does shoot well, and it does. Yeah, it is. It one shows. Of the premium options on the table. You get what you pay for.
The lightest trigger pull out of all of them. This is a 3.5.
Oh,
3.5. The Faxon was 4.
I can't remember which one I shot the best group with, but it was either the Zev or the Faxon.
I do really like the Zev. I like also the design of their mag well because it really pushes your hand up into that undercut. It feels like the Walter PDP Pro. It's definitely
locks
designed.
Your hand in.
Definitely designed to lock your hand in, and if you had a red dot on this, I could definitely see it being able to pick up really fast because I really like that front swoop.
Yeah, and for $1,100, you get all of it's optics cut. You get the best sights. You get a good, solid trigger. It's got a lot of things going for it. It's got the milling, and it does come with a couple mags. just got good aesthetics. Plus, there's the fact that it's been around for a while, so you know, like, okay, that's something with pistols or any firearm, really. You know, there's newcomers on the block, and technology advances. Like, people do come out with new ideas, but there's also something to be said about the time test of, like, this has been around.
It's been around for a minute.
Yeah.
Especially if you see, like, any new product that comes out after a little bit of time has passed. If you see a lot of those on the secondhand market, it's normally a sign that's, like, the hype wasn't really worth it. And you don't really see the Zev Z09s on the.
See them floating around every day. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're definitely getting used, and there's a lot of popular competition shooters that like running the Zev.
Who else do we have on the table over here? Already did the zero. It comes down to the AREX.
The AREX.
This one may have not been our favorite in the testing.
It did function.
It did function.
It did function fine.
It kind of reminds me of the Berettas.
Yeah. Yeah, the newer Berettas.
Like American. No, the Ruger American.
Yeah, the Ruger American.
Not the Beretta, excuse me. Yeah.
I would say if it wasn't for one thing, I would actually like this gun probably more than most of them on the table, and it's the design of the trigger. I don't know. They like tried to mix a flat face with a curved shoe and then angled the sides to be a polymorphagon-ish shape. I don't even know how to describe it.
Is that English?
No, that's Brienglish. And
now out
just
of the bat,
trigger feel to it, it makes me uncomfortable.
It's not a bad-looking pistol. We talked about it already. It has that slim grip. So for a concealed carry pistol, that is a nice feature to have. It does have an AMB magazine release, which most of these don't come with stock.
Yeah.
So
and also a completely ambi pistol. It's because it's got the mag release and the slide release on both sides. So if you're a mutant like Jay, then that might be attractive. Also has, that nice little ledge. The grip is the best grip out of all of them because of how thin and upright, very 1911-ish. It's just that trigger. I couldn't get it over it. I really couldn't.
It was one of those things. I've kind of felt it. I think we all kind of felt it when we shot it. It's like dry firing. It felt like it's better than a Glock trigger. It's like and then you shot it live and it somehow degraded. And I actually found a couple people had the same opinions on the internet as well in some forums. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad we're not the only ones who thought that. Now you are paying. It's a price point. This comes in just above the PSA Dagger. These guys are kind of newer out of Slovenia. They have a 226 clone that's apparently the bee's knees.
We'll be shooting that soon. We'll let you know.
But it's like a $450 pistol. So you're coming in underneath Glock. You're coming in right above the PSA Dagger. It is optics cut. It's got metal sights.
4-pound trigger. And like we're nitpicking here too. Like this is just our initial impressions, and it's a feel thing, and it's something that I would get over after probably 5-6 mags and doing some reps and be like, okay, well, it's probably not that bad. And there might even be aftermarket options. I'm not sure.
It's strange. Sorry. No. We liked it all more initially until we shot it, and then we all kind of developed the same kind of.
It's also the most snappy out of the bunch.
It had an interesting.
The impulse was up and to the right for me.
Yeah.
It was pretty significant, like noticeable from the other ones. Like I'd say that Faxon just like shot like a dream. Other ones, it's almost you're just shooting a pistol. You don't even notice. This one was noticeably different, and we weren't the only ones. I have a buddy who shot one as well, and it was kind of saying the same thing. One thing I did find out, sticking around with it though, that was interesting. This is not like a major selling point, but it does have super easy takedown. You don't have to play with anything else.
Yeah.
Pop that down, and it's off. So it's easy to get into and clean. You don't have to play with anything else. You just pull down the slide release and it pops right off the top and then just goes right back on. So ease of cleaning. They're newer. Okay. We'll see what they kind of like Jay was saying. There's always new stuff coming out on the market, so we'll see where they are.
Gear is always
in a few years.
Is a ever evolving creature.
Changing.
That's what's cool about it,
But at the end of the day, I wouldn't be unhappy with any of the offerings that we shot.
Yeah.
Like I don't like this trigger, but I would get over it in time.
And the price point, you get those things. It does come with it comes with 3 different back straps to try out to make it more comfortable to yourself. So there is value there. It's just a newcomer. It's not exactly tested, and maybe the recoil is just us being nitpicky, and other people they don't matter. Or it just depends. But there's so many options out there, and we don't even have, like you guys were saying,
We don't even have all of them.
We don't even have all the Glock clones on the table, but
we do have a good selection. And personally, like if I had to pick one, you're
let's
right.
do some ratings here. You know, like maybe a sort of a tiered approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say like maybe some overall winner, price point, and then I think we already discussed maybe what might be at the bottom, but you know, it's just general categorize here.
Start with the venerable Glock 19, and I would say it's a 5. It does everything well, and nothing great.
And a couple drinks in, it starts to look better.
Yeah.
True.
Don't drink before you shoot.
Goes
kids.
bang every time.
Don't.
It's old faithful.
So I'd say 5 on the Glock 19.
5 on the Glock. Scale of 10.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the Dagger for me personally. Price point. I am poor. What you get out of the box, how it performs. Jay, you said you've even seen these go full auto. Like,
Yeah.
I would say the Dagger is an
can.
interesting option. They're probably 2 or 3 years old now, or no, they're not even that old. They're a couple years old.
I think they're 2 years old because there's
I know, yeah, it's
some
about 2.
high round count drills on
Yeah.
YouTube.
I'd put this little guy. If it was priced higher, some of the features maybe not, but I'm gonna put the Dagger at a solid like 7. You know, she's wife material maybe, but she's not like top of the line class.
Yeah, I mean, considering all of the features, like everything that you're getting out of the box for the price, I would say a solid 7.
And I think there's an entry level thing to firearms.
Yeah.
Like you'll find people that they'll hold out on buying a gun because they feel like they're new to it and they want to buy the top of the class. It's like, you know what's better than buying the top of the class is carrying something.
Yeah,
Like
and getting out and training.
Yeah, test your firearms. Like don't do something that's going to fail on you, but you know, a cheap pistol is going to protect you better than no pistol.
Yeah,
So
better than a
there's that to
sharpened
be said.
stick.
Yeah. Jay, what do you got?
For me, it's got to be the Shadow. For the money, that's across the board, I think, of the best. It just overall specs and how they perform for the money.
Overall
compared
best
to
in class.
overall being, you know, twice the price of a standard 19, essentially, with all the features you would want, and seem to run the best. You know, we've shot that one a few times.
Yeah, this also ran through that
Yeah.
course.
And you know, you're not changing holsters. You're not losing anything. You're getting a better trigger. It's a sexier gun, and I think it's just the best.
Brian, what's your if money is no object pistol?
I would definitely go with the Faxon. I was just really feeling it when we were shooting, and it is.
In which that's only, you know, a little bit more.
It's only a touch more.
approaching 1200.
It was the most pleasant to shoot. I think a lot of that is the slide cuts and how they sprung the pistol.
Mm-hmm.
It was my favorite trigger out of the group, even though the Zev is a little lighter. And I can see slapping an SRO and an X300 on this and calling it a day. Like, this thing out of the box is awesome. Yeah, you're spending a little bit of money, but
It's a gun that would perform equally home defense as well as range. It would kind of fill all the roles. If you're going to go for one pistol,
yeah, you
then,
can conceal carry this easily.
It would do it all, you know.
Have it at a bedside and have it as a standard sidearm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go with the Faxon all day.
Money's no object. I'm probably with Brian on this. It's between that and the Zev. I think this Faxon was the most pleasant to shoot, but the nice thing about the Zev is from what we can understand, a slightly lower price point. This gun can truly be anything.
Yeah, the modularity is pretty sweet.
I can carry this all day, and then I can go ahead and slap a 34 slide on it, get a big extended mag well, and just, you know, get me
Shred
an
targets.
extended Glock mag and just go have fun at the range. Like, just put a lot of rounds down range and have fun with it. That would kind of be like the blend between that. Then it is nice that does come with the Faxon comes with threaded barrel, and I don't believe that was standard on the Zev.
No, but it is an option. Yeah, I could imagine putting a Parker Mountain machine comp on this. That'd be sick.
That would be very interesting. to
Or
see
maybe
how it
we'll
sounds.
take out one of the suppressors and see how it shoots suppressed.
That'd
Let us
be a
know if
good
you want
test.
to see us test out some of these guns suppressed as well. 'Cause
Yeah, guys. And if
several of
Not
them.
all Glocks suppress well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how
Or
it does.
Glock clones, at least. I mean, some of them take, you know, a Nielsen and certain springing to make them actually function, as opposed to other like CZs and things that, you know, a fixed barrel.
Yeah. And plus, it's hard to beat like suppressing an HK.
True.
Or a Beretta. I think the most interesting pistol out of the bunch is still that ZRO Delta. That is a very cool concept.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I just swapped those in my brain. That's what I was talking about. My apologies. I was talking about the customization of the ZRO. I was just staring
The
at it
Zev
in
is
front of me.
modular as well, though.
But out of the box, coming with
out of
all
the-
that
yeah,
is
you get
crazy.
everything. And it's got like that magwell is huge.
Yeah, you
Like,
can go full race gun.
This is
That's a monster. Maybe we'll configure it to the 34 setup and see how fast we can go out and grip and rip it.
I do appreciate their machining on this. It's
I
quite
just love
nice.
that you can pop even the like you can just go full whatever. Like a lot of people are out there swapping slides, but to include that and the rail mount in the box like is pretty slick to just be able to do that. It's even cut for a threaded barrel too. It doesn't have the threaded barrel, but you just stick one right there in the box.
And all the slides come optic ready.
Probably comes with a bunch of plates as well, if I had to bet.
There's a couple plates in there, yeah.
But yeah, guys, we just wanted to sort of go through all of the Glock cones for you. If you guys are curious about more or would like, we're going to be doing a lot more of these deep dives to sort of talk about all the pistols out there. There's so many more. We got 300-something guns in the safe down there that we can talk about, and
talked
adding
about for days.
adding more every day.
Be
If there's
doing
anything-
some top 5 videos or
yeah.
Yeah, we'll go into top 5 concealed carries that aren't Glocks.
Yeah, and if there's anything you guys
Stay
want
tuned
us
for that.
to break down, like pistols out there, you're like, hey, I'd love to see this before I, purchase it. We might have one on hand. Shoot us over an email at marketing@gunfightersINC.com, and you might just get your question featured on the next podcast. Might be in a video.
Yeah.
We're constantly doing stuff, and we want your guys' feedback because we want to know what you guys want to know about. There's so many options out there, and it can be intimidating. It's nice to have.
yeah, a place you can go to actually get the information. And we didn't shoot a whole lot of rounds through any of these guns. These are low round count videos, and we're just giving our initial impressions. And like, if people want it, we can pick say our top 3 or top 2, and then run 1,000 rounds through them and give you an overall longer term review. I know we've talked about doing it with the Dan Wesson and some other guns that have been pretty popular.
I wouldn't mind putting 1,000 through the Dan Wesson.
We're getting close already. Dan Wesson's got like 600-700 rounds through it.
DWX?
Oh yeah.
Check it out.
Take
We got
it.
holsters for it.
Yeah, that thing is sick.
Oh, so if you do have a Glock or a Glock clone, visit gunfightersINC.com and grab a holster.
And like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. If you're in the Rathdrum, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls area, come to our pro shop and check us out.
Thanks for tuning in today, guys. We'll see you on the next one. This has been Brian, Jay, and Mac on the Gunfighters 2 Guns, 1 Holster podcast. See you next time. Out.